The commissioner, as part of the collective bargaining agreement, has the right to name a legend to the All-Star game. He named Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols in 2022, their last years. This CBA provision is meant exactly for a player like Clayton Kershaw. I am so thrilled that he will be honored in Atlanta as an All-Star. Thank you. This commercial brought to you by your next collective bargaining agreement. People love when the All-Star rosters are announced. They love it. Why? You get to write articles. Snubbed, skipped, missed. They got it wrong. All-Stars are done in a weird way. Players vote for a bunch of All-Stars. The commissioner gets to name a bunch of All-Stars. Fans get to name a bunch of All-Stars. So it gives the media ample opportunity to say, oh, they got this one. They screwed that up. All of New York is in an uproar. How could Juan Soto not be an All-Star? The guy was the player of the month in June. That's 1/3 of the season where he was the best player in the National League. How is that not good enough? The process of choosing All-Stars, where the commissioner bats cleanup and comes in and decides how to fill out the rest of the team after the players have voted, is all part of the rule we talked about where every team must have a player. That freezes out certain individuals who play certain positions. There were no spaces in the outfield. However, starting today, you are going to see at least 5 to 10 new All-Stars named. Jeremy Pena is an All-Star. He's not going to play the All-Star game. Chris Sale's an All-Star. He's not going to pitch in the All-Star game. There will be replacements. Every pitcher who starts a game this coming Sunday, July 13th, if you're an All-Star and you start the Sunday before the All-Star game, you are automatically taken off the team. You still get your bonus. That's important because you are an All-Star. You still go to Atlanta and you still get to line up for introductions, but there's a replacement All-Star named. This was a major source, Coke, of negotiation with the union because there's so many All-Stars named. As it is, the roster's expanded to like 32, up from 26 for each side. But above that, you get all these replacement All-Stars named. So you look at your team and you're like, my God, our annual All-Star poster is crowded. Like the Dodgers have 5 people going without Mookie Betts. So Juan Soto's going to get named. He will be in Atlanta, I promise you that. For all of you in Chicago, you may have listened to Boog Shambi, and you may have heard him tell you that, hey, Kyle Tucker's been huge. So is PCA, and those guys are starting. But guess what? You got to talk about Suzuki. Suzuki is like the glue. He's the guy in the lineup that gives us depth, gives us power. Well, he's not on the All-Star team. But here's a surprise. He will be. I believe Soto and Suzuki will be named to the All-Star team. But Mookie Betts, you're going to miss him for the first time in a long time. Not an All-Star, not eligible to be replaced in my mind, because I think they'll go Soto first. A couple other things that I noticed that I wanted to point out. Number one, congrats to Jacob deGrom. You have gotten your way right to not being my pick of the day, but he is back to being an All-Star, first time since 2021. And I thought he was finished. It turns out he was only finished with the Mets. He's been great, Coca. How much would you like to have Jacob deGrom on your team right now? But nope, he's an All-Star for the Rangers. We also need to give credit to Craig Breslow. Remember that GM, the guy who traded Devers and everyone in Boston, including my friend Chris, you know who you are, totally despondent beyond repair because he's an absolute nothing. How could he do it? He's ruining the team. He's all analytics. He doesn't pay attention. He can't have a conversation with anything other than a keyboard. That guy? Well, how did your keyboard do this year? Not too shabby. Chapman, All-Star. Bregman, All-Star. Crochet, All-Star. What do those three have in common, Coca? Do you know? Well, I'll tell you in case you don't want to guess. We run out of time. They were all just brought in this year. Trade and free agent signing. And they're all All-Stars. I also can't miss an opportunity to mention the name Dan Uggla. Love you, Uggs. Do you know what? Dan Uggla was in a class by himself. He was the only player who was a Rule 5 draft and then an All-Star the year after he was a Rule 5 draft. What does that mean? A Rule 5 is a rule in baseball where you can take a player from another team's roster that's not part of another team's 40-man roster. So it's generally schleppers. And you can draft them and take them for very little money, call it 50 grand. And the rule is you have to keep that player on your team the entire year that you draft him. Because if you take him off your team, and I mean your active roster, for a minute, he can be offered and must be offered back to the original team from whence he came. Well, Dan Uggla was taken in a Rule 5 draft by us. And then the next year, 2006, he was an All-Star. Pretty amazing. How about Shane Smith? Not much positive to say about the Chicago White Sox, except when you're a team that's young, like the White Sox and the Marlins were in 06, you're going to give rookies a chance to play. And so the White Sox took Shane Smith, rookie, pitcher, All-Star. He is now with Dan Uggla. Dan Uggla has a friend. There are now a total of 2 players who were Rule 5 drafted and then All-Stars the following year. That's pretty cool. I want to stay with the Mets right now. The conversations we have with our players about the home run derby goes something like this. The All-Star games in Miami, we said, Stanton, please participate. We'd like you to defend your title that you won the year earlier in San Diego. When you are Atlanta, you're hosting All-Star game, you want Acuna to do the home run derby. MLB wants to get the anti-slam dunk derby. What I mean by that, and this is conversations that actually come up, we never wanted our home run derby to be like NBA's recent slam dunk contests, where it was just nobody anyone's heard of. You want your superstars in the derby. Pete Alonso is synonymous with home run derby. He is a great performer. Fans love to watch him. He came out yesterday. He was named an All-Star. That's another thing that can happen. Wink, wink. No one will tell you this. But players don't want to do the derby if they're not All-Stars. So if there's a player who the league wants to do the derby, they may wink, wink, make the player an All-Star. So he'll be there anyway. And then he'll participate in the home run derby. Shh, don't tell anyone that. Alonso was named an All-Star because he earned it. And he said no to the derby. Why? He gave you a quote that was absolute horse hockey. Go get the shirt at davidsamsonpodcast.com and wear it when you read about this. He said, I want to fully be able to enjoy the festivities. That's really what it boils down to. As fun as it is for me, it's not necessarily the work or the swings. It's more the adrenaline spikes up and down. So having that Monday off, I'm really excited. Do you know why it's horse hockey? Because guess what Pete Alonso did last offseason? Do you recall the contract that he didn't get? He didn't get the long-term contract that he wanted. And you're going to call me Mr. Cynical, but don't. This is actual. He and his agent got together and said, is it in your best interest to win the home run derby or to continue to perform during the course of the season, stay healthy, keep hitting bombs, driving in runs, then we can go Chapman on your tuchus. That means you take the Snell-Chapman pillow deal, then you re-sign for the huge long-term deal that you didn't get the year before. But if you're hurt or you win the derby and then all of a sudden have the derby curse, which is absolute hooey, it doesn't exist. But if by chance you have slump in the second half, which is not really the second half because they've already played more than 81 games, but if you don't hit bombs, then I don't know if I can get you that deal. So why don't you skip the derby? So Alonso tells baseball, thank you, but no thank you. And then he wants you to believe that he's just about helping his team in the second half. No, this is about helping him. What I would have respected more out of Pete Alonso is just give it to me straight. Yeah, listen, I got to get that long-term deal first. The minute I get the long-term deal, I'm in like Flynn. Instead, he says, I don't really like hitting at Truist Park. If it's in Fenway or Wrigley, count me in. I wonder why he would say that.